Hello, welcome to today's episode on the Ethical Lens podcast. My name is Beatrice Marbell and I am your host for today. I have here with me interesting personalities from Unimac IJ and they go by the names
Perfect Chinyote,
Grace Shashabote, Bridget Mamli Owusu.
There is Ananesi Arthur.
They are students from Unimac IJ studying public relations with marketing. On today's show, we will delve into a very important ethical dilemma within the fields of media ethics and public relations with marketing. Our focus today is on a thought-provoking perspective offered by an ethical scholar, Patricia Parsons. Is telling the whole truth always the most ethical thing to do? Mr. Perfect, what do you think about this?
well, I must first of all say you're looking so good.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So, well, with regard to Patricia Parsons' view, if I will pick it from the deontology perspective, basically as a PR professional, in every circumstance, in every situation, we are supposed to ensure that we communicate the truth and we are accurate in whatever we say. So, always, definitely, in every situation, as a professional, you must always ensure that you say the truth. Because at the end of the day, if your stakeholders that you are dealing with get to find out that what you have told them, or based on the information you've given them, is not accurate and it's not the truth, it may tarnish your image as a professional and even the professional body that you represent as a whole. So certainly, in every situation, as a PR profession, you must always stick and say the truth at all costs.
Okay. Teresa, is there anything you'd want to add on to it?
So, in my perspective, I would say that telling the truth is always right as a professional. So, telling the truth will build trust between you and your publics. It will make them have credibility in you because you are very open about the dealings and your everyday today activities. And then also, I would say this Malcolm as an example. When the building was having issues, the people knew, the owners knew that this was the issue, but then they decided to keep it from the people, and then at the end of the day, it resulted in disaster. So they should have been more open about it, and then close the place, renovate, and then come back again. So I would say that as a professional, you have to be very truthful in all your activities. Thank you.
Okay. So from your example or from your circumstance, they should have made the public known that there were some...
They should have closed down and then tell the public that they have a problem with the building, so they are renovating. And then after the renovation, they could have come back and then offer their services to the people. Okay. That was the perfect thing they should have done.
Okay, thank you. Madam Grace, in your field of professional work, has there ever been any circumstance where you've encountered this?
Not really, but I have some examples I can cite here. So, I think as a PR person, you have to be transparent to your customers or audience. So if you take cigarettes for instance, so it is boldly written on it that cigarettes is harmful. So here they are being truthful to the people. You understand? So they are not hiding anything. It is boldly written on it. So I think that's
even though they are producing the cigarettes, they are still making you aware of the side effects or the consequences of smoking cigarettes. Okay. Okay. Our lady, what do you have to say?
Okay, so according to deontology, he says that withholding the truth without telling the public is seen as a form of manipulation, and also it's seen as a form of denying people their right to fair speaking and also hearing as well. So to me, I think discovering or speaking the truth is seen as most ethical. Example is that as a journalist, when you see that there's too much corruption or there's a high rise or increase in corruption in the country, you must be bold to speak it up, even though there can be some instances where some government officials will try to threaten you. But deontology says that always be truthful, no matter what. So you should always open up and speak the truth at all times.
That's very good. That's inciting. Is there any final verdict you would have to say from any of you?
Yes, please. Okay, I think as a PR professional, we need to give opportunity to our stakeholders to make their decision. We shouldn't make decision for them based on the situation. Because if you are making situation for them, then you'll be tempted not to tell them the full truth. But if you trust them to a point that you believe that they'll be able to handle every circumstance or every situation in relation to their decision, I believe you'll be able to give them every detail that they need in relation to every situation, which at the end of the day will bring a great impact to you as a profession and as a profession body as well.
So, from what I gathered, you people think it's ethically right to always be truthful.
Certainly.
That was a very interactive discussion. So I have with me here a very interesting case study I'd like us to discuss. I'm going to read it. You are the PRO for Elidem Estates Limited, a real estate development company in Ghana, which is set to launch its largest project, Best Believe Gardens, a multi-family housing estate designed for middle-income families in the outskirts of Accra. While conducting background research, you discover that the land designated for Best Believe Gardens was previously a major dump site. A report from the Ghana Environmental Protection Agency confirms that while there are low levels of contaminants present, they do not pose any serious health risk. Concern about transparency and public perception, with target audience asking about the history of the land. Your manager recommends that you do not address the issue with the audience. In this case, what would you do as the PRO? Will you tell the audience that the land previously used to be a dump site, even though your manager is telling you not to disclose that information out? What would you do? Madam Theresa.
So, using the deontology factor, I would say that it would be worthy to tell your audience or your public that the land used to be a dump site.
Not to cut you short, but I think for viewer clarification, maybe you can explain what deontology
factor says that you should be truthful and then you should be open to your audience.
Okay.
So using this quote, I would say that it is right for you to let the people know that the land used to be a dump site. The reason being that when the people find out later, it will tarnish the reputation of the company. One, it will ruin your image, and then it will destroy the relationship between you and your public. So I think it would be very moderate to tell them that it used to be a dump site. So if the person still wants to buy the land, the person will go ahead. But if the person doesn't want to buy, it's fine. At the end of the day, people will still be interested in buying something from you or buying the land because they realize that the health implication was very low and it's not going to affect anybody. So I think somebody would still like to know what the land was used for before they purchased it. Yeah.
Even though your manager is saying not to disclose that information?
Yes, please. The manager, to be able to build relationship and then reputation between you and the people, you have to just be open about it. Because at the end of the day, if they find out about it, it's going to ruin the company's name and then its reputation. So it's better you just let them know.
And your reputation as a PRO might also be at stake.
Yes.
Okay.
At the end of the day, if they sack you from the job, you can get another one because you are very open and then truthful about whatever you wanted to do.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Grace.
I want to add up to what she said. So, and even if your competitor finds out, it is going to, your competitor might even say worse things or to tarnish your company's image.
Because already there's a saying that you lied about the land. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, I think it's good if you are being truthful.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Perfect.
Well, as a business that is in for profit, you must always ensure that the interests of be it your customers or your audience are always put first. So looking at this very case study, if you don't make your buyers, which is your customers, feel that their view or their interest is being put first, that will ensure that at the end of the day, they wouldn't even come and purchase the apartment. So at the end of the day, it's going to bring a low sales in relation to what you intend to achieve. So, as my colleague have rightly said, truth, transparency always matters. So far as we are in for money, so far as we ensure that the needs and the interests of our audience is what motivates us to do the things that we do, we should always consider their interests and ensure that we give them the right to make the decision, as I've said earlier on. You are not the right person to make a decision for them. If they want to buy the property, certainly they will buy.
They will.
If they don't, they wouldn't. There is nothing that you can do. So you need to be fair with them so that they will decide either they want to buy the property or not.
Okay. That's very insightful. Thank you very much.
Okay, so me being the PR officer for that firm, yes, I would say that yes, it's important to tell your customers, your audience, because since they are your target audience, or else when your competitors get to know about it, they would say something bad to damage your reputation and also change the mindset of your audience as well. And this will cost you a lot. Even though I know that when I say the truth to my customers that this used to be a dam site and all that, though some people won't like the idea that it's a dam site or it's a refuge site, so they would want to build houses or even buy a land there. But telling the truth would benefit me a lot in my firm. Since
Well, I think in view of the case study, you rightly said that the environmental protection has given them, is it a prior notice that the low level of infection there? So, I don't think it's even a big deal. Because so far as the environmental protection body has come, they've, run the place through the various checkups, and they have concluded that the infection rate there is low. I think it's a good cause to tell them the truth, because if it were supposed to be something that is actually bad, the environmental protection wouldn't have even allowed you to proceed at the first place. So it means that certainly they have the concern of your audience. So I think you are in the best place to do that.
And
Okay,
also, I think most of our lands here are not clean lands. Most lands in Ghana are mostly refuge dam sites, and I don't think it will be an issue for you to buy a land that it has been used for a refuge dam site. So, yeah, it's not a big deal for you not to tell your publics or your customers that this and that was what was the land was used for before. Yeah. And I think with lands like that, you can buy and then start farming on it. It will germinate very fast because it's very moist and then it's very fertile.
Fertile, sorry.
Fertile,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it can be used for agricultural business
Purposes. Okay. I have a personal question to ask all of you. Would any of you buy a land knowing that that land used to be a dump site?
Personally, I will buy.
You will.
Yes, I will.
You wouldn't mind the fact that it used to be a dump site. You would buy the land and build a house on it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. This brings us to the end of today's discussion. Hello. Welcome to the second episode of the Ethical Lens podcast. My name is Beatrice Marbell, and I still remain your host for today's show. We are still on the discussion of the challenging question offered by Patricia Parsons, who is an ethical scholar, which is telling the whole truth always the most ethical option, or are there circumstances where avoiding full disclosure may actually cause harm? I have with me here beautiful ladies from Unimac IJ, and they go by the name
Special Dinambata.
I'm Yakubu.
I'm Deborah Aka, and I am Patricia Amy.
These are students studying public relations with marketing in Unimac IJ. My question is, you are a PRO for a pharmaceutical company. You produced a new drug for COVID, but after it was distributed, you realized that the drug had health implications. As a PRO for the organization, will you disclose this to your consumers or to the publics?
First first of all, as a PR, when you are taking steps to solve crisis, you have to go with the portal that talks about you defining the issue, you your loyalty, your principle, and with thinking about the health consequences of your consumers, you are supposed to think about the mass, because if you bring it out to the public, it's going to cause fear and panic, because already you disclosed it in your product that if symptoms persist, consult your doctor. So if they realize that this drug is going to bring health consequences, everyone will just be rushing to the hospital. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen? But if you think about the mass, you realize that you just have to call off the product. All the wholesalers, all the retailers have to bring back the product without giving a vivid
Explanation as to why you're calling off the product.
Yes, but if you can call off the product, that every distributing point has to bring back the product. Just issue a statement that they should bring back the product without giving any reason. Just call off the product, because Parsons theory says not full disclosure. If it's going to harm the public, you don't disclose it fully, and also you are not supposed to lie. So you don't lie about it. You are not supposed to disclose it for the health of the people.
You find a way to manage the crisis. But don't you think you owe the consumers an explanation as to why you're calling off the products from the market?
Because you don't want to lie to them, and you might not want to cause fear and panic. So the only way you can do is to just call off the products without giving them any explanation.
So what about those who have already consumed the drug?
That's why they said you advise them to see. That's why you've written on the label, if symptoms persist, consult your doctor. So if you realize that there is any change, you have to state it that they should seek their doctor's advice before taking any medication.
Okay, that's good.
It's not only causing fear and panic, but rather ruining in the image and reputation of the company too.
So you're trying to tell me that if you as a PRO, if you disclose to the public or your consumers that this drug that you have produced is having a health consequences on your consumers, it will damage the image of the pharmacy?
Yes.
That's what you're trying to say.
Because your customers may not purchase your drug again.
But don't you think you coming out to tell them the truth that, oh, we found out that this drug that we have produced is causing some health implications, so we are taking the drug off? Don't you think it will be truthful for you to open up and tell your consumers that, oh, we have realized that this drug that we have produced, people that have consumed it, they are having some health complications? Don't you think it will be right?
Said, it is written on the drug that if you are having any complication, kindly see your doctor.
So you think disclosing that alone would help you maintain the image? Okay.
Even in 2022, Vena Minolta also had the same issue. They had an issue with the FDA. Up till now, they've not disclosed why they just called off their.
What was the issue?
The issue had to do with, they didn't bring any statement relating to what the product was. They just called off the product that they just want, and the only explanation they gave to their consumers was they feel they deserve the best, so they are calling off the product to rebrand it and bring it to them.
Oh, so initially they were not producing the best water for them.
I don't know, maybe they felt
they want to improve upon the quality. Okay.
So they had to draw all from 18th to from April to June, all those batch water. They had to they call it back. Yes. So you can also take the same step without ruining the reputation of your company and also the mass.
Okay. So I have a question. What if a research personnel decides to do a research on the drug you are producing, which was causing health implications to consumers, and then finds out that this is the effect of taking this drug, and then probably comes out and say, oh, your pharmaceutical produced a drug at this time and the drug had this side effect, don't you think it's going to destroy your image as a pharmaceutical, as a brand of, don't you think it's going to destroy the brand name?
So already you find out first and you call the product out. If you had not called off the product and it was still in existence, that one would have ruined the reputation. But now the people will be like, oh, already they knew it and they brought it out.
So
and
I
you can
think
issue
that
a
would,
statement that we didn't want to cause fear and panic.
this is why you did not disclose it to the public, but rather took back the product.
Sure.
Okay.
That's why we have whistleblowers.
Okay.
So yes. So you yourself wouldn't come out just for the sake of the mass and for the sake of the reputation. If not, your the public wouldn't trust any pharmaceutical company again. But then you calling off the product, they finding out later. They already know that you prevented it before, okay, because you produced it not long ago, and most people haven't purchased it. So the health implication wouldn't rise up to a higher level.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Hajia, what do you have?
okay, this one, it will help manage the reputation of the company, because you are not telling them the whole truth about the matter, but rather you are not also telling them what has happened. So it will help you as a PR and a marketing manager of a company to manage
The pharmaceutical
image,
company.
Yes, to manage the image of your company, and at the same time not causing a panic to the public. And I think that one is better than you telling them the truth. Then they will start panicking about your product. Meanwhile, it's not going to work like that.
Okay. So you think that it's not always the time that you have to be truthful?
Yes.
Okay.
And you don't have to lie as a PR and marketing manager.
Okay. Are there any personal experiences you might have had within your field of work?
Okay, so as I was saying, that as a PR and a marketing manager, you don't have to open up and tell your audience that maybe this is what is happening, so that you protect the image of your company and then will also not cause any harm to the public. Like maybe we take a personal example, like maybe I have maybe HIV and I went to a hospital and I told the doctor that not to tell anybody about my sickness. And my family too came to the hospital to find out whether what is wrong with me. And then the doctor is put in a dilemma that he's not supposed to disclose my status to my family, and then my family too.
He has to explain to them what is wrong
Yes,
with
because
you.
they can also get some. It's HIV. Maybe if I use something sharp object and then the person to use it, it's going to cause harm to the person. So I don't know, but
So to chip in, my other colleague raised that if you are a PR for a pharmaceutical company, remember you are dealing with your publics and then you are dealing with the company organization you are working with. So at the end of the day, you are considering two people, your publics and then your company. And so Parsons stresses that you avoid full disclosure. So this is not to say you are going to tell the utmost truth, nor to lie, but you address the situation, and then if there's the need for you to give further information later on, I mean, when there is crisis, you should know how to control it. And then later, when the crisis is down, then you can come out and speak to your publics. Then you can come out and speak to your publics, asking why you took certain measures into consideration. So that is what Parsons is trying to say, that you should avoid full disclosure. So at the end of the day, you will know that you didn't tell the utmost truth. You handled the situation.
Okay, so what do you think is the right thing for the doctor to do? Is he supposed to tell the family members your status, or he will leave it to you to tell your family members your status?
No.
Mm-hmm.
He's not supposed to tell my family members.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what he's supposed to do is to tell my partner, like, what is happening.
But don't you
No,
think
the
your
doctor is not
partner...
supposed to tell your partner? It's on you
Okay.
to tell your partner, because in case you have a partner where you've not had any intimacy with your partner, do you feel like the doctor should tell your partner? It's on you to tell your partner. That's why it's your personal report, not you and your partner's
And what
report.
if you don't have a partner to?
So
Yeah,
the
that's
doctor
the
has
point.
to first of all psych you so that you know what you are going through. And then when you are psyched, you will get to know that it's HIV is not a death sentence. And then when you understand that, then he can choose, if you have a partner, you can choose to invite your partner and talk to him as well, for him to also understand that you can be on antiretroviral.
But in this case, she doesn't want the
don't
doctor to disclose her status to any of her relatives or family members.
The doctor will first of all psych her. If the doctor psychs her, she's going to understand that she's going to live with someone at the end of the day. She can't be alone, especially if she's in a relationship.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Or she's married.
or you are married.
Yeah.
You are definitely going to be staying with someone. And so if you don't want your family members, like the
Other
extended
ones.
people, to know, the close ones should know. If
Yeah.
you have a partner, he should know. If you have kids, there should
They
be
should
a
know,
way of
yes.
you communicating to the kids.
Yeah.
If they are minors, you know that when they reach at a certain age, you are going to educate them.
It's
So-
the doctor's duty to tell the family, not the patient.
But here lies the case: the patient doesn't want the family members to know. So you, the doctor, you have when you have you swear an oath when you are being after you graduate that patient's record is not to be disclosed.
Confidential.
Unless the patient gives you the go ahead. So if the patient, it depends. If the patient tells you go ahead and tell my family members, fine, you can. But if the patient tells you not to, you're not supposed to disclose it because you've sworn an oath. And if the patient finds out that you've told the family members about it, the patient can sue you because
Of
one,
course.
HIV is something that stigmatization is high in Ghana. So if your family members realize it.
But there are people who they've been diagnosed with HIV or they know they're sitting, they're still alive, it's been 10, 20 years.
Yes, but people, it depends on the person's psychological. When you are diagnosed at first, that you have HIV, it comes with a whole lot of trauma. That is why I'm saying that if the doctor can't psych you, the doctor can recommend
The patient.
the patient to see a
Psychologist.
psychiatrist or a psychologist to psych you and know what you have, what you are going through, the advantages and the disadvantages. And then when you know that, now you understand what you are going through or what you are having. And so if the doctor wants to disclose it to your partner, or if the patient wants the partner to know, the doctor will have a way of telling the partner that this is what has happened. Do you get?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's true. And then
And then it will also reduce fear and panic, because when you go to the hospital and the doctor tells you that you have HIV, then no, you yourself, you the patient, you are not in your right frame of mind.
Yeah.
Let's talk of the people that are going to be around you. So the doctor has to let you see a psychologist to psych you, and then you understand what you are going through. Then the other measures can be taken.
Kaja, you want to say something like that?
Yeah, that's what she said. Because you see your partner too, you need to protect your partner. So if they didn't tell him the shooter, how are you going to protect him? And
So the only thing you can do is to tell your partner to also come and test for it. Not just going to tell my partner, I have HIV.
Maybe through the testing, he might also find out that he has HIV.
Sure,
You
so
know,
you have
so
to also
from-
go and test. If you test and you realize that both of you have it.
So at that
That's
point
when you-
in time,
yes.
you being the patient, you don't have to bring out the whole truth that you have HIV/AIDS.
That's
First
why
of
the
all, you
doctor
have
is not
to-
supposed to also tell. Because
Yes.
imagine you met someone, you guys just started a relationship. You find out that you're having HIV. Do you still expect me to be with you after realizing that you have HIV and I don't have? Obviously, no. So yeah, the doctor is not supposed to disclaim. You yourself is supposed to tell your partner that I have it or not, depending on how long you guys have been together.
Okay, it's been a very interactive discussion. unfortunately, we'd have to come to an end here. So here comes the end of today's discussion on the Ethical Lens podcast. We'll see you same time next week. Please do well to subscribe to our YouTube channels, follow us on the social media platforms. Have a good day. Bye.